I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 70, MRC Multi-Racing Championship. Released in 1997, this game was developed by Genki and published by Ocean. Well, here we are again, back with the most popular N64 genre, racing games. I don't really think this one was all that popular, although there were a couple people who showed up to the stream saying they'd played it back in the day. I personally had literally never heard of it, which seems to be a case for a lot of these. Personally, I'm still holding out for Cruisin' USA to be picked. The main single-player mode in this game is the championship mode, so we'll be completing that to beat this game. First thing to do is pick our car, or machine as the game calls it. There are 8 different ones to choose from, and I'm not really sure what they all are, but there's decent variety. The first race is on a track called Seaside. While you're racing, it plays pretty intense music, basically high BPM techno. There's also an announcer type guy giving you words of encouragement and advice.
It's a straight course from here on. Now push it to the floor.
The audio settings weren't great in this though, as the sound effects are super loud, and if you turn them down, it also turns down the commentator's voice. It'd be nice if you could separate those, but guess you can't. Races in this game typically have forks in the track. One path will stay on the road and be easier to drive on, but it's a longer piece of road. The other side will go off course and it's much harder to drive on, but it skips some of it. With the rally car I was using, driving off-road felt basically impossible. The game has you racing against other people, but at the same time it is an arcade format where your time's constantly counting down, and you reach checkpoints to increase your time remaining. On my first attempt, I wasn't even close. Ran out of time quite quickly. I figured I should check out the other machines to see if they yielded any better results. I went with the white car, and I realized there's no damage in this game, so I could just go full speed into a sharp turn, allowing myself to bounce off of a wall. Kinda reminds me of those wall strats in Top Gear Rally. However, this does slow you down quite a bit, so it's not as good as it sounds. I felt like I did better this time, but I still ran out of time quite early. I mean, I was in 5th place, so shouldn't those guys have all timed out as well? Next, I decided to try out the yellow SUV, and this is where I finally got some results. It felt like a night and day difference, as this thing could make turns without even braking, even when I took the off-road path. I guess you'd expect the SUV to handle better than the other car, but man, this just felt so nice. Sure, it had a much lower top speed, but the fact that you don't have to brake ever is just huge. Maybe if you get really good at handling the other cars, they'd be better. I made it to the last lap without timing out for the first time, and I had caught up to first place. It was an intense battle, both of us ramming into each other like crazy. In the end, I did overtake them, taking first place after about 5 tries. It felt great. It shows a congratulations screen, then you enter your initials into the high scores for that track. And then it shows a really strange cutscene with your machine on like a Greek temple in space with a big gold trophy. I don't know, it's really weird. The next course was the mountain, rated as medium. It's a harder level for sure, but I had the strats now. My yellow SUV could handle anything, and I knew to just always take the off-road path to cut down on the length of each lap, even if it means driving off a bridge as a ramp. Usually these races are rather chill until you get near first place. I think there's rubber banding because the first place driver will be insanely aggressive with you, even when you take a U-turn at a casual 190 kilometers per hour. Despite these challenges, I beat the mountain course first try. This time it shows a slightly more normal cutscene with your machine in the middle of a big building. Looks like something out of Assassin's Creed. At least makes more sense than being on the mountain in space. Course 3 is downtown, rated as hard. Quite different scenery here, as we're driving through a sort of city area with buildings all along the sides. Despite being rated as the hardest track, I actually had the least trouble with this one. I was able to make it into first place by the second lap. This track confirmed to me that there is rubber banding though, because despite getting to first so quickly, I struggled to stay in first. There was even a battle with the guy in first where his truck went airborne and he just teleported away. I guess it's a failsafe to not let you get stuck or something. I took first place on this one first try as well. The cutscene after this was just out of hand though. It shows your car going up an insane elevator in what seems to take up the entire inside of a skyscraper, and you reach the top of the city with a helicopter flying overhead. Then there's the biggest gold trophy of all sitting there, and the credits play? Game complete. I guess. For beating the championship mode, you unlock a new mode called Match Race. In this, you do a 1v1 race versus a rival car on the same tracks from championship mode. It shows a cutscene with this massive bus and then an evil-looking pair of red eyes inside. Whew, it's just another machine. I thought there was like a demon or something like that. The match race itself begins with both of you at the start of the race rather than a rally style with you all the way in the back. This thing was kind of crazy though. I would gain some distance at first as it shows how far ahead of the other guy you are. However, at the final stretch of the track it would always pass me. I think its speed was just too high. I tried swapping to some of the other machines, but as you know from earlier, I just didn't do nearly as well with them. The yellow SUV was just the best. I kept losing despite being so close to winning, it just wasn't happening. That's when I discovered something big. You can actually adjust the stats of each machine. Maybe if I had read the manual I would have known that, but oh well. I adjusted the gear to be maxed out, which raised my top speed by 10 kilometers per hour, and this was the edge I needed. I could still take all the turns without braking, I just was flat out faster now. The other machine would still gain time on me in that last stretch, but I was able to get far enough ahead at the start that it didn't matter. It shows the same cutscene that it shows in championship mode, kind of a bummer. There are unlockable machines and tracks in this game, but after looking into it, the tracks unlocked are just mirror mode versions of the others. So since I reached the credits for beating championship mode, I'm calling it beaten, with the rest of the stuff being for 100%. So there you have it, my journey to beating MRC Multi-Racing Championship. Look, I'll just be blunt, having a total of 3 tracks to race is just bad. I thought with the unlockable tracks maybe it'd be a bit better, but man, they're just mirror mode versions of the 3 you start with. With that said, I think this game had a lot of potential. Maybe the funding just wasn't there, or the publishing company just wanted a quick buck, I don't know. The driving physics themselves are pretty solid. It's a nice mix between realism and arcade style. Plus I enjoyed how each course had multiple paths you could take to go off-road or stay on course. The music style was really cool to me. I appreciated the commentator, although I wish you could separately adjust his voice and the sound effects. And the graphics aren't bad at all. I gave it a 4.5 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 2 out of 10 for difficulty. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Have a sneak peek at the next game. So we have 321 games on the list. Anything could be picked. 3, 2, 1, go. 11. That's a low number. What's that? Oh my god, we are playing Air Border 64, one of the few PAL exclusive games on the N64. So all you Europeans, you guys got to play this. I didn't. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. It helps the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one.